に合わせて叫べ勝利の雄たけびを秘密戦隊ゴレムニジャー
Chapter 1 Super Sentai Alumni. Author's note. This fanfiction is undergoing polishing to make it better starting with this chapter. Please bear with me. Thanks. The opening scene below is copied from a scene of Super Sentai vs. Super Sentai, which involves Takeru and Momoko's meal together by Chris X. Since Shinken Red is also named Takeru, I have integrated the concept into him and Mako, who, like Momoko, has a great love for children as a tough lady despite elegant exterior. Also, the Jetman appear here because they are my favorite 90s Sentai of all time. Maybe my favorite Super Sentai of all time, even with all the fresh plots that appear every now and then. Of course. So many are surprised that Guy Yuki survived, which will soon be explained how he survived. The boys Joe Yuki and Ken Tento are a tribute to Gatchaman, another anime series I grew up with. Ah yes, Gatchaman, a series that heavily inspired much of Super Sentai, Jetman being a direct homage to it, from the villains to the character archetypes, right down to using the exact same bird motifs. Plus, there are many events here that are not canon to the actual Sentai that has happened as well. Slightly revised, December 30th, 2011. If this is your improvements, well, you'll see. It is the Super Sentai year 2011, and everything seems peaceful, or so it seems, as a universe tainted by sin always breeds evil to destroy the righteous. The Shinkenkers have long since defeated the Gidoshu, and the Ghost Sages have returned home to where they came from. As for the Shinkenkers, they have moved separate ways yet again after the events of Ghost Sager vs. Shinkenker, epic on the big screen. The Ghost Sagers have once again left for their homeworld, only to drop by for a few visits to Shiragochi Amachi and his son Nozomu. The Go-Onjers were also on their separate ways. Takeru Shiba can be seen looking at their albums of the past. At least Mako got to stay here after she went back to Hawaii, said Takeru Shiba. He remembered that Chiaki and Kota still have school to attend, and so did Kaoru, who left the house to her son Takeru Shiba. Ryunosuke finally moved from the kabuki to higher forms of acting. The Go-Onchers were probably saving other brain worlds, and the Ghost Agents were probably fighting other evil elements they didn't know of. If they're fighting them, then they probably know about them. They were all fun to meet with, but I want to fight side by side with other heroes even if they came from another world, said Takeru Shiba. Mako, she somehow had her heart in Tokyo, and her heart was kind to the near Takeru Shiba, where they both started their own dojo. G was helping in their dojo whenever they were not around. Well, Takeru is asking me out. How nice. Maybe it'll be time I realize what I feel about him too, said Mako. Mako then dropped by Takeru Shiba's chambers. Mako, Takeru said in shock. Takeru, you haven't forgotten about our dinner, said Mako. I'll be in the shower and changing to my attire in a few minutes. Oh, I forgot, said Takeru Shiba. Sorry, Mako, the car is ready though. This doesn't really sound like dialogue these two would say. It was night where the two of them got together for a formal dinner. Mako wore a black dress and Takeru Shiba wore a black suit. They're both in a buffet in a fancy European restaurant. You look kind of gorgeous today, Mako, said Takeru with a flattering look. Thanks, Takeru, said Mako. It's been a while since we ate out like this. All informal, just you and me. Thanks. Oh, waiter, table reserved for Takeru Shiba, said Takeru Shiba. Right away, sir, said the waiter. Both sat down on their respective seats and they're at the reserved table. Takeru Shiba was trying to treat Mako as his honored guest and love interest. Both sat down as the waiter approached to pour them some water. May I take your order, please, monsieur? Asked the waiter. How about the special steak today with coleslaw salad special as you advertised outside your door? Said Takeru Shiba. A good choice for an order, monsieur. Pretty great choice for a place, said Mako, looking around the fancy new restaurant before she sat down to wait for their order. Where do get some of that special chocolate cake I ordered for this lovely lady, too, said Takaru Shiba, who lit the candles on the table. Light the way, monsieur, said the waiter. Oh, for this pretty mademoiselle, do you have any other orders? Oh, none, said Mako. Takaru Shiba poured some grape juice on Mako's wine glass as the gentleman would. French lessons can be fun, said Mako, who can be seen playing with her iPod. Minutes later, the special steak arrived. It smelled so good with a combination of garlic and pepper. The vegetables were crisp as ever, dressed in basilic vinegar. It was finally placed by the table. Takaru, you have good taste. Aside from secretly being able to cook, you have taught me a lot. This place is really fancy. How do you learn of this place? Asked Mako. Said Mako. Oh, that was nothing. Genta told me of this place before he left us again for personal reasons. I can't blame him if he likes to further his cooking skills in France, said Takaru Shiba. Takaru Shiba was cutting the piece of steak he ordered a while ago while Mako was chewing hers on the salad. Their dojo just had so many students and both of them were having what would be a lovely gaze. There was also a sad gaze at Mako's face while Canon in D minor played on the background via a piano. What's the matter, Mako? Asked Takaru Shiba while staring at her face, filled with but a blank expression that indicates her sadness missing her friends, who only came every once in a while. She was just alone with Takaru Shiba. Oh, nothing, really, said Mako, who tried to hide her sorrow of not seeing the other Shinkenjas around her. Your voice lies. Just tell me. You can open up with me now. You know you can open to me now more than ever. I mean, we've gotten closer than we were as just teammates, said Takaru Shiba. Mako looked at the empty table reserved for some guests. She imagined what it would have been, all the Shinkenjas together, as there were 6. In her mind was all of them happily eating together. You're thinking about the others, aren't you? Asked Takaru Shiba. Sometimes I wonder why I can only understand you more than I understand the others. I think they're all great. I wonder how my adoptive mom is doing. That is, if the law ever counts her as well. She did the best thing in the world to adopt you in order so you can continue your job as Shinken Red, even if it was later laughed at by the registry. If she didn't, I don't think you'd be able to fight with us and finish Dokuku, said Mako. Right. You wouldn't be able to beat Bladeran either. She was also the one who freed me from Godoshu. No, that was Alata who did that. So, Mako, do you think we can really meet our fellow Shinkenjas again, one way or another? Said Takaru Shiba. I understand that too. Let's just enjoy our dinner, Takaru. I've never dreamt of eating in a fancy restaurant like this. Oh, by the way, thanks for the dark chocolates too. They're pretty much my favorite, and roses are my favorite flowers, said Mako. Glad you like the flowers that I have given you, said Takaru Shiba. Like the rose, your elegant exterior is accompanied by your toughness. I like that woman. Thanks, said Mako.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
The Jetman team arrived in the restaurant while both Takaru Shiba and Mako enjoyed their night together. Ryu and his wife Kaori, Guy Yuki and his wife Ako. Wait, Guy married Ako? Raita and director Aya was there. Satoshi Oshi was left to take care of Ryu's and Kaori's son Ken Toto and Guy Yuki and Ako's son Joe Yuki. Aren't those Shinkenjas red and pink? Asked Ako. Yeah, they are, said Guy Yuki. I think we better get dinner and recruit them to our organization to help us while they are here. The Shinkenjas would be a great help to us. The Wokenjas are in and so are the Deca Rangers, but we need all the help we can get. Did that really sound like something he would say? That's a good suggestion. Samurais can be helpful too, in a group of young people, but not to coerce them. I prefer people who fight with us at their own free will, said director Aya. Team, I think we got our first 2 recruits from the Shinkenja team. Hopefully we can find more younger Sentai to help fight for us in the new alliance of Super Sentai, said director Aya, referring to Takaru and Mako. Looks like I know what we're supposed to do. We have to establish contact with them, said Ryu. Ryu approached the table where Mako and Takaru Shiba were eating dinner. He was careful enough to be polite as possible. Allow us to introduce ourselves. Maybe you heard of us, maybe you didn't. We are the Chojin Sentai Jetman. You must be Mako and Takaru Shiba, owners of the new dojo in town. We have heard about you, said Ryu to Takeru Shiba and Mako. Stop saying his full name, goddammit! Jetman, asked Takeru Shiba. I've heard of them, but I've never dreamt I'd meet them much later in life. It's been a while since I've heard about you people. You're a senior force now, aren't you? Indeed we are. As I said, we were once young, but we're not getting any younger. Tell that to Raita's actor who doesn't look like he's aged a day in 20 years. That's why we are looking for young warriors to help in battle. However, I'd like to taste battle again if ever given the chance, said Ryu. Much changes have happened ever since. I had my wild days before women, but that's over, said Guyuki, who held a shot of whiskey in his hand. As you know, the Skyforce and SGS have collaborated for some time before I met you and other Super Sentai forces, said Director Aya, and we are trying to find as many Sentai as possible to form the United Super Sentai Alliance. We are targeting the younger ones for physical work, and for us seniors, we're more consultants. Yup. Rio, the Red Dye Ranger, would vehemently disagree with you on that. I have directed the project myself with many others. What's really going on? Asked Mako, astonished. She just explained it! Well, believe it or not, there is a war that we believe is about to erupt soon. I am afraid that the threat is coming soon here in Japan. I believe that our old enemy, who we once defeated 20 years ago, could be behind the sudden fall of Germany in less than a day. Wait, why wasn't that established much earlier instead of this shit with Takeru and Mako having a stupid dinner? Said Ryu. That's pretty crazy, said Mako. Mako, said Takeru Shiba. Sorry, said Mako. I understand if you think it's crazy, said Ryu. Give us time to think it over, said Takeru. Here's our calling card. If you do run into trouble, we may run into each other. I wish you will join us at your own free will and passion, said Ryu. It may happen sooner than you think, said Mako. Until then, farewell, said Director Aya. Meanwhile, in another world, another universe quite similar to theirs but different, it was the Power Rangers universe, a world that was but a shadow of the Super Sentai universe. Unknown to them, Akared had entered from time period to another. This is the Power Rangers universe in a previous time than ours. I admit, it is quite similar yet different, with this world not being so beautiful. It could easily crumble if the forces of evil will enter it. I must not let that happen. Right now, Radige is forming his own army that could destroy all of reality, said Akared. A man, quite late in his 20s, having held 5 powers in his lifetime, was there. He was Tommy Oliver. The days of Dino Thunder had ended, and it was the year 2005 in the Power Rangers universe. For this guy. Wait, why is it 2005 in the Power Rangers universe, but 2011 in the Sentai one? It's been some time now. Now I'm just all alone once more, said Tommy, who was really ready to go fast asleep after a tiring day of work at the university. He works at a high school, not a university. He had broken up with both Kimberly Hart and Catherine Hillard. What has he done? He also misses all his friends in the past, including Zordon, who sacrificed himself. Stilted fucking dialogue. While in his dreams, he saw 5 figures: Dragon Ranger, Kiba Ranger, O-Red, Red Racer, and Overdrive Black. They're me, said Tommy in surprise. They're all my costumes in the past. But as Tommy noticed his speech patterns, he was speaking in Japanese. It was in fact weird to him because he never learned to speak language before. I never learned Japanese. Never did, never will. Why am I speaking it? Said Tommy Oliver. We are not you, said the 5. However, we are your counterparts from the Super Sentai universe. You shared our powers for some time. The Super Sentai universe? What is that place? Where is that place? Asked Tommy. Belong to a universe which your world is a shadow and has existed for some time with its own set of elements. Our history books are even different. Angel Grove doesn't exist in your world, said Aberrare Black. Just like where I come from is the Dino Earth, but it is simply a crossover. Tommy, you must understand that a legendary conflict is about to hit, and you are chosen to join a war, so will other Power Rangers. Tommy was getting confused about the events that were happening right before his eyes. With this dialogue, I don't blame him. But the 5 warriors demorphed and showed him their human selves. Tommy was shocked that Kiba Ranger was a child named Ko. Barai, Goryo Hoshio, Kosuke Jinai, and Asuka showed themselves. Barai was shown as a ghost. We will be waiting for you, said Barai. I may meet you in a past or in a future. Be aware, Tommy, your world will soon be in a conflict like never before. There is a parallel world. Yours is a shadow of our world. Stop saying that.